So today marks my 24-hour readathon. We're gonna try and do it. So I'm planning on reading, for sure finishing these two books, and also getting somewhat progress on this one. So I recently finished Heir of Fire in the Throne of Glass series, so I was gonna pick this one up before I continue with the series, but I thought to include it since it was something I was already reading. But to give kind of a synopsis on Throne of Glass, if you are unfamiliar, it's a 7-book series with this extra that kind of is a prologue and gives more background on our main character, but these are all by Sarah J. Maas. Most people have heard of this, but I'll still go ahead and give you a rundown. So in the first one, we follow our main character, Selena, and she has this very notorious reputation as being an assassin in Adderlane, and she's pretty much very well known among the kingdom. And so she gets caught one day and gets punished by serving in the salt mines, which is the slave labor camp in Dovier by the king. So she spends a year there, and then she gets picked up by the captain of the guard of this kingdom and also the crown prince, and they take her to serve as their candidate for his competition, the king's competition, to compete against other people that are auditioning to become his champion, and there she will carry out his dirty work, basically. And so when she starts the competition, there is a string of murders that start happening as the competition is going on, and the targets seem to be those competing in it. So that's kind of the whole premise of the first one, and it kind of goes off on its own whole thing as the rest of the series goes. So that's really only a synopsis for the first one, but in this one, we are getting, so it's broken up into a bunch of shorter stories, and they're all pretty much of her background when she was an assassin, and the events leading up to her being a slave in the salt mines. So this is definitely just a prologue kind of a book. I read online that people recommend either reading this before you start the series or after the third book. So I decided to do it after the third book, and I think that's been the best choice because we're getting little snippets of what happened before she was caught in the first 3 books. So we've gotten quite a bit of information about it, but it hasn't gone in depth. So we don't really know everything she was capable of when she was an assassin, so this should be quite interesting. It's only about 435 pages, which is a nice break because the third one is 500 pages, and the next one, the fourth one, is 600 pages, so that should be fun. But in terms of my thoughts on this series, I love it so far, and I just finished Heir of Fire, and ooh boy, that ending was crazy. So it's good to take a break with this, I suppose, because ooh boy, I need to just let it meld for a little bit. And then, as I mentioned on my book update and also my book tour, I wanted to get through the other books I have of Colleen Hoover because I read Verity last year, and I also have reminders of him. And so, of course, I bought them without actually reading her stuff, and I'm not sure if her stuff is for me, but I'm the kind of person that wants to give every book a try, a good read before I unhaul it. So I thought it would be good to get through these in a 24-hour readathon since I have time. So I wanted to pick up It Ends With Us and It Starts With Us. So As for the premise of the first one, we follow our main character, Lily, and she is in a relationship with Ryle. I'm not sure if they're just dating or if they're married or what have you, but they end up having a child together, and things start being pulled up from Lily's backstory, kind of her past. And it starts interfering with her relationship with Ryle, and he starts turning very jealous and possessive. He becomes very toxic and abusive towards her, and so we're following her as she's trying to get her and her daughter out of this situation. So yeah. And then this is just the sequel to it. Most people know kind of what the sequel is. It's pretty much just like it's the aftermath of it, and it's more of Atlas content, because I know people really liked Atlas since he wasn't shown a lot in the first one, so from what I understand at least. So yeah, so that is my reads for this 24-hour readathon. I haven't done one of these before, so we shall see how it goes. It might just end up being a book vlog because I might get really tired. So, anyways, I am going to go ahead and start with this. So let's get into it. I thought I would give a reading update because I am about 100 pages in this now. But before I do that, I forgot to mention I was gonna tab this book. I'm using red tabs because I thought it would be fun to tab every time Ryle was giving me a red flag moment. So clearly he's already not doing so hot. Already I don't like him. He's just, anyway. So I spoke a little bit wrongly about the summary of the plot line, kind of. It starts out with them meeting and falling in love and such and so forth, and then it gets into that kind of stuff. So I completely forgot that it does technically start out as a normal romance novel. So sorry about that, but I don't think what I said before was really a spoiler. It's kind of been around for a while. So, and I didn't really divulge in the stuff that happens because I don't even know it. So anyways, but so far, like I said, I really don't like Ryle at all. I think he's exactly as he's described to be in the summary. He's arrogant, and I just find him quite irritating. I mean, the first time they literally meet, his first, thing he says to Lily is, he thinks that the idea of love in relationships isn't appealing to him, and that it's a burden, and I'm just I feel like that's something I've heard from, men before, and it really just infuriates me, because I'm you know what I mean? It's just, toxic male behavior, and I don't like it. It annoys me. So already that was really only within the first 20 pages, so, I already didn't like him. I knew I wouldn't like him. His kind of character is extremely irritating to me and infuriating. And then, within 60 pages, he, randomly shows up to her apartment, which she only told him the building she was in. She didn't actually say what room or floor she was in, and he finds her and then, begs to do it with her, which is already disgusting to me. Number one, it's a red flag that you just randomly show up to her apartment when you've only had one conversation with her, And then, or I guess it'd been 2 at that time, but anyways, they didn't really know each other. And number 2, a man begging for that is just, it's really pathetic. And she thinks that of him at the time, and then she just kind of falls for it. And I'm like, girl, you are better than this. Like, I don't know. Anyways, so it's still entertaining. I'm exactly 100 pages in, so I will keep trekking on, but I need to eat food because I'm hungry. I actually started this, so I started this video at about 2 p.m. I'm a little late in the day. I didn't end up waking up until like noon today. I have I don't know if I mentioned this in a previous video, but I'm on vacation right now from my job. I do have a full-time job, and I normally work 12 a.m. to 8 a.m. So I work first shift. So I'm normally asleep during the day and up all night, but during vacation I have completely wrecked my sleeping schedule, so I've been up in the morning, but today I slept in, so yeah, I just got a late start, but I'll still go until around the same time tomorrow if I make it through the 24 hours without sleeping too much, because I do like my sleep, so. But anyways, yeah, so this is going pretty quickly for me. I figured it would be a quick read. Her books aren't very difficult for me to read, but yeah, so I need to go make food, and then I need to go feed some cats at my parents' house, and then I will be back soon. So see ya. Okay, so unrelated topic, my cat is really clingy right now, so yeah. Anyways, but I got a package from Amazon delivered today, so I thought it would be fun to unbox it because I bought some books, so. These are very small books. Anyway, so it came in a box, but I actually got some sticker books that are like color by number, just because I think they are satisfying. Yeah, so it's pretty much just like a color by numbers, but for adults and with stickers, because I saw these on TikTok somewhere and I thought they were cute. I just got them from Amazon, so I also had gotten a D&D one as well, so fun stuff. I'm an adult child, it's fine. But anyway, so let's see how they crammed these books in here. Okay, that's how they crammed them in there. They're pretty small anyway, but I got all of the extras from Alice Oseman, and one of them being kind of what started the Heartstopper series. So up first I got Solitaire. So this one is about Tori Spring. So these are actually set up like actual books and not graphic novels like the Heartstopper ones. So there was that one, and then also Radio Silence. So this one is about I believe it's about the person that Alan meets and kind of gets closer to. So Alan is one of Charlie's friends, and I think during the Heartstopper series you can see him like talking about how he's getting closer to a person, and I believe that is about this person. Their name is Frances. Frances. So, and then up next, I Was Born for this. So this one is about our main character, Angel, in a pop rock teenage boy band. Interesting. And then I also have Loveless. Okay, so this one is about our main character, Georgia, who is struggling with feelings of possibly being asexual and aromantic. So she's not really ever found someone to be in that kind of relationship with, even though she is obsessed with like fan fiction and romance. So this one should be interesting. And then I also got Nick and Charlie, which was the start of Charlie and Nick, and it is extremely short. Yeah, it's under 200 pages. It's only about 150 pages, so. And then this one is this winter. I think this is also about, yeah, it's about Tori, Charlie, and Oliver Spring. So yeah, so it's about his friend group. So it should be fun. I just love all the characters in this, so I'm glad that I finally have the rest of these books. I need to make sure I have all of them. So I think this is the rest of them, but yeah. So I get to add these to my shelves. But if you're curious where I found those, I found a full 6-book collection on Amazon. So yeah, that's fun. I've been wanting to get my hands on these for a while. Okay, so I have another book update for you guys. I am past the halfway point on this now. I got through another 100 pages. So some stuff's already starting to go down. I've added a few more tabs, as you can see. So we've gotten to a point where we're starting to see some of the stuff that's going to play out in the end of this, and the stuff from Lily's past is starting to come up at that point now. So yeah, so I still hate Ryle. I feel like that's obvious. And also, I don't know what it is about Colleen Hoover's writing, but it feels like no matter what age her main character is, they still feel very immature to me. So Lily is only 23, but I feel like she's quite immature for her age. I think it's just the way like they're written and the way the dialogue plays out, because so Lily's the same age as me, okay? I just don't talk like this. It's just weird. I don't know. I don't know if maybe it's just me or what, but I noticed that in Verity. I forget how old the main character was in that. I think she was only mid-20s, but she still felt extremely, like, almost like she was still a teenager, which is kind of how Lily feels in this. And I'm like, well, yeah, I still have some very, like, immature moments. I still feel like some of the way she goes about things is just weird in terms of, like, interpersonal relationship kind of thing. I don't act the way she does in terms of that, because that's kind of my frame of reference, because I'm the same age as her, and I just don't act like that. I don't know if it's me, I don't know what, but, like, I don't know. Anyway, so I'm probably gonna finish this after, so the next time that I speak to you, it'll be finished. And then we'll see if I want to continue or if I want to take a break from this and read some of, Throne of Glass. So we shall see. But, yeah. So it is the next day now, and I finally finished it. So I didn't end up recording a whole lot last night just because I was focusing on finishing this, and also I fell asleep, so I cooked dinner and I fell asleep. So yeah, I ended up, so this is probably not gonna be the usual stay up and sleep deprive myself for 24 hours and read, just because I feel like I physically can't do that. So it's turning more into a book vlog, a book reading vlog. But we still get to talk about books I finished, so, you know, whatever. But, yeah, so I finished this, and I have some thoughts and feelings. I forgot my book journal, but we'll just go with it. So when I last did or when I did my last book update with y'all, I was past the 200 page mark. So I was past halfway. So I only had about, 100 pages left? I don't know. Anyways, so literally when I continued reading again, it was right back into some more of the crap that happened that I kind of had to, like, yeah, I don't know. My brain was just kind of like, okay, cool. So, like, I feel like in this, when stuff starts happening between the two of them, the process of which Lily goes through in her head is, while I think it's realistic for the kind of situation going on, it was kind of disturbing, to be honest. Just because, like, we know at the start of this, she's already been around that kind of relationship before because her parents had that kind of relationship. There are several times in this where she's reminiscing on her past in these journals she had when she was a teenager, and she recounts kind of how her dad used to abuse her mom. So she's used to that kind of thing, and she already in the start, she, like, resents her father for it. And so she starts remembering that kind of stuff because she reflects on how she didn't want to end up in a relationship that was similar to her mom's, which clearly doesn't happen. And so as stuff starts happening, she kind of convinces herself that she's not going to end up like her mother, convince herself that her mom was weak for not leaving, but then she starts understanding why her mom never left. And she starts to, the part that's most disturbing is she starts to convince herself that her Ryle is nothing like her father. And I think just with that, because some of the things she says to convince herself of that fall right under, like, what she was, like, criticizing her mom for, because I feel like that's right in the same vein of, well, you're convincing yourself that your partner isn't anything like your dad, which he isn't, but in many ways he still is. And I feel like she was falling straight under the same trap that her mom went into. So it's kind of interesting the way Colleen Hoover paints that picture, because I feel like it just shows, like, the cyclical or generational cycle. I'm not saying that correctly, but you know what I mean. Like, there are some families that have a cyclical fashion of abuse through each generation, because, like, in Lily's situation, her biggest example of that kind of a relationship was her parents. And so because it was tainted, she doesn't have a great frame of reference. Even if she wanted it to not be like that, she still didn't have a great frame of reference of what a good relationship should be like. And so she still fell into that kind of trap with Ryle, which I feel like is extremely realistic, because I feel like based on what I've seen or heard from other people, that is what happens to those that are in that kind of situation. And there are noises outside my window. Anyways, but, like, so I feel like Colleen Hoover painted a picture that is very realistic in what happens to people who are victims of domestic abuse and things like that. I feel like a lot of the thought process we get from Lily is the way she transitions through her feelings is realistic, and then, like, there's one part in this after, like, the kind of final straw happens where she does another journal entry now that she's an adult in this situation, because she hadn't done one since she was a teenager, but it kind of shows her going through the process of trying to get out of this situation, and, like, I feel like that journal entry is, like, I don't know, I feel like people in this situation should be reading a journal entry like that, because it really sets, like, I don't know how to explain it. It's just, like, the way Lily's journal entry was written in this is just, like, I feel like it's something that can be felt among people who have similar experiences. I myself have had similar experiences. I feel like I can relate to Lily quite often, in terms of my dad having very much the anger issues. He never got to the point that her dad did, but I still can relate in some ways, and I feel like that kind of journal entry, that the way it was written by her was just kind of like, I get it, you know what I mean? Like, and so I feel like the message in this is done very well. I don't know, sometimes it's hard because this book definitely makes you think about things, and, like, the ending does make it feel like people who are in this situation can get out of it, and there is hope, and you definitely can break out of it if it's, like, generational for you. So I feel like if you can get through the triggering parts of it, I feel like there's a message in it that is worth reading. I just don't think Colleen Hoover her writing is really for me. But I can still say that, like, this book for sure has a good message in it. And I feel like it's something that needs to be talked about more. But yeah. So I ended up giving this a 3.5 out of 5 stars. For me, I just think I don't really vibe with her writing style very well, and like I said before, it seems consistent that her main characters, and really just any female characters in this, are written very immaturely, and I don't know why. There's a reason contemporary romances are not really my thing. I do love a good, like, toxic romance every once in a while. I also went into this with thinking it was going to be one way and it went a different way, which was kind of weird. So yeah, and I also, like, gave a summary of the plot that was kind of wrong, and I'm sorry, but oh like, whatever, it's fine. So yeah, so like, I think if you're more into contemporary romances and you're not like me, who for some reason just can't get into it, I think I think I'm one of those people that's like, yes, I understand contemporary romance, but what if romance with magic or fantasy? Like, why have one when can have both? I don't know. I'm weird about it. It's fine. I'm definitely not gonna diss on anyone who likes contemporary romance, because I see the appeal. I can get it. I just have never been into this kind of stuff, so it's okay. But, like, I feel like if you're into contemporary romances, like, that's your thing, I feel like you would still enjoy this. I just don't think it's, like, I don't feel like her prose is, like, the most amazing thing I've ever read. And that's the problem with me, because I've read mostly fantasy novels where the prose is more flowery. I'm used to more flowery writing, so when it's not, it's a little weird for me, but that's just me. So, yes. Enough about that. I'm a little... Also, Ryle was just kind of pissing me off the entire time, because I'm like, oh, you want to be like that? Okay, because I kept tabbing. But at the end of the day, I think my final thoughts. I think the choices that Lily made along the way, while some of them at the beginning I wouldn't agree with, but then again, I'm not in the same position as her, and I think that given what was going on, it makes complete sense, and I'm like, I understand, because I'm like, that is the thought process of how people in these situations go through. I get it. But I feel like still at the end of the day, she made the best decision given her circumstances, and I feel like the reason she was doing it for is what it's all about, kind of a thing. So try not to give anything away because I don't want it to be a spoiler, but yeah. So anyways, moving on. So I decided I was going to go ahead and read through this. It's a little bit shorter. It's only 320 pages. So I was going to go ahead and pick this up and go through it. Just because I know I feel like it'll be more lighthearted than that one. Because that one is kind of heavy. I'm not opposed to heavy writing. It's just sometimes, when you read Throne of Glass, Heir of Fire, and then you go into that, it's a little weird. Anyway, so yeah, I'm going to go ahead and pick up. It starts with us, and I want to explain the synopsis. I just know that we get some more Atlas content in this, which actually we got more of it in It Ends With Us than I thought we would. And we also get his actual point of view in some of these chapters, which I forgot about. And also, because I thought it would be funny and ironic, since I tabbed this one with red flags, every time Ryle did a red flag moment, I thought it would be funny to do green flags with every time Atlas did a green flag moment, just for funsies, because why not? So, yeah. So I will see how far I get in on this one. I'm not sure if I'll finish this before the end of this video. We'll see, but I will try. It's not very long, but for some reason I'm taking a little longer to get through this than I thought I would, but it's whatever. So anyways, continuing on. Hello, it has been a few days since the last time I did my reading checkup, but yeah, it turned more into a book vlog than a 24-hour readathon. So yeah, I just don't think my brain or body can do a 24-hour readathon for realsies, but either way. So I do have a book update for you because I am about halfway through It Starts With Us, and the tabbing has begun already on this one. So I was just kind of gonna make this my last reading update because I was just going to finish the rest of this on my own, because I literally only have like 150 pages left, 160 or something. So as for this one is a lot more lighthearted compared to the first one, as I thought it would be. I believe she did that on purpose anyway. But so far, yeah, so far, we're getting both Atlas and Lily's points of view in this, so it kind of flips back and forth each chapter between their perspectives. And I think the way that that's broken up is done well. But I don't know, this kind of doesn't feel like it was as on par with the last one. I don't know if it's just because there's not a lot of like stuff going on. It's more of their lives settled into the routine they're in now. So it's not as like shocking of what's going on compared to the first one. So yeah, but there are still some parts that are like worth talking about in terms of like the situation Lily is in with this one. And honestly, like, Ryle is still freaking infuriating in this one. I just mean, like, this man, the audacity of this man, I swear to God. Like, he does things where he thinks he's entitled to giving her his opinion on her life. And I'm like, dude, you do not have the right to speak about that stuff to her. Like, anymore. Sorry, but no. Anyways, he's annoying. Anyways, so, and also the other thing I'm having a problem with in this one is 150 pages in, and we're getting Lily's journals again, but we're getting like full excerpts from her journals that we already read in the first one, and they're like pages long. It's not like a little snippet of it here to remind you what was going on in this journal entry, or like a summary of what the character was reading from her journals or whatnot, but like we're getting like full-blown pages of her journals, and I just find it kind of frustrating because we already read them in the first one, and especially since I'm reading them back to back, so I already remember her journals from the first one already, and I just find that kind of annoying, because like there was one section where we had like nearly 4 or 5 pages her journal entry again, and I'm like, I don't need to reread it all over again. And I feel like even if you took a while in between picking this one up from the last one, I feel like you don't need the entirety of a journal entry again. I don't know. That's slightly frustrating to me, because I feel like this could be shorter than it is. And honestly, like, the subject matter in this one almost feels more like following them day to day, and so not a whole lot is being said in terms of like a plot line. It's more just following them day to day, and I feel like it's kind of like droning on. I don't know, that's just me. I'm just not as happy with this one. So I'll keep finishing it, because it's not like it's bad, it's just like, does it feel on par with the last one? And I've noticed some other people have been saying that too, so, but yeah, so I didn't really mean to leave it on a more bleh ending to this video, but I guess that's just how things go. But like, yeah, so, but yeah, so I feel like I still got quite a bit read through that I wanted to, so I'm just gonna finish this up, and then I'll continue Throne of Glass, and I just really want to right now, because it's giving me vibes. So, but yeah, so that's gonna be the end of this video. I will cover my final thoughts on this one in my wrap up for this month, so you will see it there if you were curious, and then I'll wrap up again. It ends with us in my wrap up as well, so yeah. But anyways, so I'm thinking next month is going to be a very, very much due book haul, so if you're curious the things I have bought recently, stay tuned next week for that. But yeah, so I will see you guys next week. Bye!